welcome or welcome back to the channel. I am Bekah Joe, aka the Makeup Tax Lady. Today we are just doing a little get ready with me. My hair is finishing its air dry, although I'm really liking kind of the texture that's going on. So we may or may not end up curling hair, but I wanted to do makeup together. I'm going out and hanging out with some friends later today, and I thought this would be a fun opportunity to share what makeup I'll be wearing for the day. Thank you so much for being here. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you have any thoughts or comments or questions along the way, please feel free to use the comment section in this video, and I'd be happy to continue the conversation down there with you. All right, let's do this thing. So there are very few things that I know that I want to wear in today's look. One of them I want to try out. I just picked up from Ulta this Flower Beauty lip stain. This is the shade Sass. So once we get going with the base products, I'll put this on before we get too far to help me decide the direction for the rest of the products. I am going to start off with my Bobbi Brown under eye corrector and just use this little brush. I'm going to tap this in on the inner corner of my eye and also the outer corner of my eye. I recently picked up this Perez Oat Milk foundation, and I am really enjoying the consistency, the texture, the way that it lays on the skin. I have more thoughts to gather on it. Unfortunately, I think I picked the wrong shade for myself. This is the shade Latte, and I believe they describe it as a fair cool. It seemed online like maybe it was the right shade for me. I usually go for a neutral undertone. I think it's both too cool for me and too light for me. So I want to keep using it. Unfortunately, since the color isn't quite right, I don't want to use it on its own most days. So today I want to try mixing it in with my number 7 Hydroluminous. It's going to sheer out the product a little bit, and then, not that this really needs any more moisture to it, but I think the combination of these two might work well. So let's try that. So here we have the Perez foundation, and then on this side is the number 7 tinted moisturizer. I'm not really aiming for a lot of coverage in this look. I'll go back with a concealer over the areas that I want more coverage, because I do have a few blemishes right now. Okay, so there is that combination blended out on my skin with my damp sponge. It is luminous at this point, but it's kind of setting into the skin. I think it looks very nice. It's a nice skin finish. I did go in with about the same amount a second time and added that mostly to my cheeks, to my nose, because I missed my nose entirely on the first try, and then a little bit more to my chin. I did pick up a couple of Perez concealers. I picked up their Arnica Pot Concealer. This is the same shade in Latte. And I think the formula is nice, but again, it's a little bit too light for me. So this isn't my favorite in this shade for spot concealing or even necessarily under my eyes. I think maybe in the winter time when my skin tone is a little bit lighter, maybe I'll get a little more use out of it. I also have their Lychee Cream Corrector. This I got in the shade Uno, which is their first shade or their lightest shade in their line. Again, it's too light for me, unfortunately, but I'm going to keep working with these products and keep trying them out. I think the formulas are really pretty, and if I continue to appreciate the formulas, I'm not opposed to picking them up in the correct shades. I am going to use what has been my go-to concealer lately. I know this is not a new product, but I have just been trying it for the first time in my experience over the last couple months, and I really like this. I really like this. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is the shade Light Peach. Normally I don't reach for a peach shade, but something about this one seems to work really well for me. It's got nice coverage. It looks like skin. It lasts pretty well throughout the day. Almost every e.l.f. product I've tried prior to this concealer has not had longevity for me. So that is the most surprising thing to me. But I know that e.l.f. gets a lot of, I don't know if hype is the right word, but people do tend to really like e.l.f. I think for multiple reasons, but I've been really impressed by this particular product. I'm just gonna blend that concealer in with my damp sponge. Next, for powder, no one is surprised, I'm going with my Sydney Grace Loose Translucent Setting Powder. For my under eyes, I'm going to use the Sydney Grace brush. Okay, I have a light dusting of that setting powder all over my face. We are feeling set, we are feeling soft. I am gonna go in with my Sydney Grace cream bronzer. This is the shade Cinnamon Roll. I would love to see Sydney Grace release more of these shades, and I'd also like to see them available for sale on the website. I have 2 of their cream bronzers, and I got both of them from mystery bags or bundles of sorts, but they were limited time offers, limited time opportunities, and because of the nature of like the mystery bags and all of that, there's never necessarily an assurance that you're going to get any particular product within the bundle. Sometimes they might say you'll for sure get such and such, but with the cream bronzers that I got, I'm pretty sure in both cases it was kind of a, they may be in the bundle, but it wasn't like a guarantee. So I have no insight as to what the brand is doing beyond what they're posting on Instagram, but I would love to see these made available. I'm also just using this Sydney Grace F06 brush for applying that cream bronzer. It's a really nice shape and it's very, very soft. I really enjoy their brushes. I have all of the brushes I believe that they have available for individual sale on the website. I believe they've had a couple brushes that maybe have been in a bundle or a mystery bag that I don't have, but I have a good majority of their brushes and I really enjoy them. Many of them are a part of my everyday makeup routine. Okay, now I want to go ahead and go in with this Flower Beauty Bitten Lip Stain in the shade Sass. People on the Ulta website, like the reviews, were saying that this is similar in their opinion to the Fenty Beauty, and I have 2 of the Fenty Beauty lip stains. I have Berry Banger and Strawberry Sangria, and I really like these. I think they're a lot of fun. They're more bold colors, so I don't wear them every day, but I really like the longevity, the lasting power of these products. So seeing that people thought that this one was similar but less expensive intrigued me. So I picked up, again, this is the shade Sash. So this is definitely a cool toned shade. It's a very, very pretty shade. I don't have too many of this shade in my collection, which is part of the reason I picked out this color, but I do love a pretty fun lippy. So let's get this on the lips. Okay, that is a very fun shade. It's definitely more subtle and it's definitely cool toned. This is a shade that my mother might really like. She prefers like cool toned pinky lips. I'm gonna add just a little bit more right to the very center. I also built it up just a little bit with the understanding that it's gonna fade a little. I am getting kind of a weird taste from it that I'm not crazy about. And compared to the Fenty Beauty, this is a little more opaque. Like I feel like the Fenty Beauty lip stains are a little bit more transparent, but they still have that pigmentation. Maybe once this settles down, I'll have a little more, I'll be able to compare them a little bit better. Okay, we will let that rest on the lips for a while, but that has inspired my blush choice. I want to use Sydney Grace Cream Blush in the shade Ballerina. This is a beautiful cool tone, but not like too cool toned. And it's like pink, but a little bit mauvey. It's such a pretty shade. I'm going to use this little Sydney Grace brush, dip into Ballerina, and then, oh, that's so pretty. Okay, that shade is such a fun complement to the lip shade. I do want to top that with a powder blush to give it a little more longevity and also add just a little bit more depth to it. And I'm gonna go in with my Sydney Grace single powder blush in the shade Mauve Delight. I wanna use this Sydney Grace angled face brush, and we will dip into the blush. I am recently becoming reacquainted with these blushes and reminded of just how gorgeous, oh my goodness, just how pretty they are. I have so many. I have this whole palette. These 3 are highlighters, and then I have another palette that I may only have 8 Sydney Grace products in that palette, 3 or 4 blushes, 2 or 3 highlighters, and a single powder bronzer that I have from the brand. And the single powder bronzers is another thing that I'd love to see them come out with. Their powder bronzers are available in their face palettes. Somehow I don't have any of their face palettes, which might need to change this Christmas in July. But as you can see, I love putting the shades that I enjoy into a palette. What a pretty fresh face we have going on. For brows, I'm going to use my Half Caked brow gel. This is just a clear brow gel. I'm gonna brush those puppies up, and just a plain spoolie to give them the shape I want as they're drying. And if you're new here, we are low maintenance brows. I do have a couple Sydney Grace brow products that I really enjoy. I would love if they came out with a brow gel. That would be cool. Sydney Grace brow palette. These are eyeshadows. This is the palette in the shade Blonde. They have 5 or so, I think, options available, and you can create your own brow palette as well. I also have their brow pomade in the shade Blonde, which I really like. One thing that is so nice about this is the shade Blonde is not too warm toned. I feel like with so many brow products that I've tried, granted I haven't tried all that many, but with many of them, they tend to be too warm toned in a blonde or in a light taupe. And I'm not going for gray, like I'm not going for a super cool toned, but I would like a neutral brow. That's what's gonna look the most natural in my particular brows. So I really appreciate both of these products for that sake. This is my About Face eyeshadow primer. Okay, I've decided to keep it nice and simple on the eyes today, so I want to use Sydney Grace Cream Shadow. This is the shade Candlelight, so this is really, you can see in the little window right there, this is just a nice, pretty champagne-y color, close to my skin tone, but it's going to add just a really pretty metallic sheen to it. I do want to add a matte in the crease, not because I have to, just because I kind of want to. This is Enduring Love by Sydney Grace. This video is not intended to just be Sydney Grace, but with our Christmas in July sale coming up, it's really top of mind for me. This palette is a little bit beat up. I know. I want to use the shade Cherish and just run that real roughly through the outer corner and then kind of through my crease. Now that we have a little definition with that matte shade, I'm going to go in with the cream shadow. I'm just going to put some on the back of my hand here. And I really love to apply these just with my finger. So I'm just getting some on my finger, making sure I don't have too much, but that it's spread out a little bit And just gonna tap this starting on the center of my eye and then blending out to where I want it. Because I used my finger, I had a little bit less control, which is name of the game, totally okay with that. I'm just gonna take this big fluffy brush and just kind of go on the edges of that while it's still drying. And hopefully you can see we have just a nice, pretty sheen on that eye. For me personally, with Sydney Grace shadows, the cream shadows and the powder shadows, the cream shadows last so well on me. They dry down and it's gonna stay this way. I can be out in the heat, I can wear this for 12 hours and it's gonna look almost this good by the end of the day. I highly recommend if you have not tried these. I think the very first cream shadow that I tried from them was a deeper shade, and because of that, it threw me off a bit and I didn't love that first one, but since trying them some more, I'm so impressed. I love these so much. I'm gonna use this pencil brush by Refer. I'm gonna dip back and forth between Robert and Boaz and then do just a little bit of liner on the outer portion of my eye. That is it for eyeshadow. I will go throw on some mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, mascara is on. I am trying out the Sky High waterproof mascara. This is the first time I've tried this in waterproof or not. The formula's a little dry off the bat. It's taken me, I've been using it for maybe a week now, and I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I think the more that I'm using it, the more I'm getting to know it and the more that I like it, but it's also not like a top-notch mascara for me so far. I'm in a wedding in a few weeks, so I wanted to have a waterproof mascara. I'm a crier, so that's the intention behind picking up this product. I don't know that I can attest to its waterproof claims at this point, but I will keep using it. This is probably what I'll wear for the wedding, with probably some sort of false lashes going on as well. But yeah, so mascara is on. My lips are feeling a little dry, so I want to add some of my JD Glow lip gloss. This stuff smells so very nice. Okay, and there we have it, folks. Here is the final look for the makeup. I need to take this out of my hair and see what we're working with. That is some Bekah Joe kind of hair right there. It's got a little bit of texture, which I'm glad that I'm figuring out that my hair does have a little bit of texture, like a wave, but not really a wave. But that I can work with haircut to kind of emphasize that texture and then let my hair, you know, having the right cut really helps to give your hair what it needs to do the texture thing, if that makes sense. So like I've got some shorter layers in right here over my ears on both sides, and I really think that helps like a little something something with the hair right there. So there is the hair, there is the look. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Again, I'd love it if you'd like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Let me know all your thoughts below, and I'll catch you next time.